calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4-lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning, and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. The Warner Hospital and Health Services fiscal year 2027 budget was recently approved by the Clinton City Council, which is set to take effect on May 1st. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, CEO Paul Skowron told the Heart Media Group that while the hospital is facing new legislative pressures and rising insurance expenses, the final budget maintains a positive bottom line.
Budget was approved at the City Council meeting on Tuesday, April 21st. Our fiscal year starts May 1 till April 30, and that is why the budget gets approved in April.
Okay.
So I presented a budget that has a positive bottom line. But there are pressures that we haven't had in the past with legislative changes, less increases in insurance revenue, but expenses don't go down. So there are those challenges. However, we have presented and we're approved with a budget that has a positive bottom line. Something different about the capital budget this year that I did point out to the City Council is, in the past, I talked about a big IT expense, that Meditech Expanse conversion, which a lot of people don't associate with, but it's, it has been installed and it was successfully went live on November 1, and then all the bugs getting worked out over the next 5 months. So the public doesn't see all the benefit of that, but we do have more interaction with patients now where they can more easily get online, make appointments, see the results, talk to their providers, so that was successful.
The focus in the new fiscal year shifts back to facility efficiency and safety. Key projects include the replacement of nearly 50-year-old windows, as well as HVAC and air conditioning upgrades in patient rooms and stairways. Skowron points out that visitors will also notice ongoing renovations in the main entrance designed to improve wheelchair accessibility.
Now, the fiscal year 20, we call it fiscal year 27, but it starts May 1. That budget is more back to improvements to the facility, safety, efficiency, and back to making sure this slightly aged facility is as efficient as it can be. For example, new windows. We haven't had new windows in 50 years. And so things like that need to be replaced, making sure that all the different stairways and patient rooms have the most efficient air conditioning, HVAC services, and so forth. Those kind of things are, more back to the normal plant and maintenance upgrades. But in addition, when you walk into the main entrance right now, there is, when you register in the main entrance, there's a renovation going on, so that it's more accessible for wheelchairs, and just a refreshed look, new flooring and things like that. So there's a lot of different capital expenditures going on throughout the hospital to accentuate those things, as you know, that we've done with a new emergency room, with the specialty clinic, and to try and extract more efficiencies from those past expenditures.
Skowron notes that with 95% of the hospital's business now occurring on an outpatient basis, the new budget year prioritizes the efficiency of services like infusion therapy, 3D mammography, and imaging.
I talked about something simple like windows, but if your windows are 50 years old, you can bet that your electric costs, your utility costs will be lower if you replace the windows. But then there's safety issues, just little things like that really don't cost much, but the parking lot, the physician's parking lot has some cracks in it. If somebody, any person that lives in the neighborhood is walking through, not just our employees, and trips on that crack, there's a lawsuit. We just looked over the whole facility and said, what is it that we have been ignoring because we've been focusing on these IT and these larger projects? Let's get everything as efficient and safe as possible. We're also looking at some patient room improvement to try to increase the amount of private bathrooms within the inpatient. But we have to look more at outpatient. Inpatient is only 5% of our business. More and more, all services are being provided on an outpatient basis. So, our infusion therapy, try and market all of our 3D mammograms, all the imaging, the CTs, the MRIs, everything that we do on a regular basis, try and improve patient flow, make it the most efficient for the patient to come in, register, get their services, go home.
The city of Clinton approved the hospital's latest budget during the city council meeting on Tuesday, April 21st. Plenty of corn and soybean producers across Illinois started rolling in late March, including Brent Corners in Jefferson County near Centralia in the southern third of the state.
Well, we kind of about had the same start as last year. Got out there early, putting on anhydrous and stuff for corn crop, and some guys, was poking beans in there right at the end of March, and putting some corn in also, and then they kind of held up a little bit, and I don't know what was it about maybe 2 weeks they held up, and then they got back going again here about 2 weeks ago, and a lot went in 2 weeks ago. I'm talking, there's some guys in the area here that's totally done beans and corn in, waiting on their wheat to come out and double crop.
According to the latest USDA crop progress report, 29% of the state's corn crop has been planted, with 36% of the Illinois soybean crop in the ground. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. That's DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more. It's DeWittDailyNews.com.
Digital marketing has its place, but across rural America, there's still one medium that farmers and ranchers consistently rely on: ag radio. Farm broadcasters reach agricultural producers where cellular service drops and internet connections fail. When farmers are making critical decisions in the field, they're listening to farm broadcasters they've trusted for years. Consider this: the average farmer spends 5 to 6 hours daily in equipment where radio is their primary companion. That's why ag radio offers agricultural advertisers unparalleled access to decision makers exactly when they're thinking about their operations. Farm broadcasters don't just deliver your message, they enhance it with credibility built through years of providing accurate weather forecast, market updates, agricultural news. National Association of Farm Broadcasting research reveals that messages delivered by trusted farm broadcasters result in 30% higher brand recall and significantly improved conversion rates compared to digital agricultural advertising. Ready to reach farmers where digital can't? Visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com and put the power of ag radio to work for your brand.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Brock Wilson anchored a dominant pitching performance, leading Clinton to a 2-0 shutout victory over Tuscola on Wednesday afternoon in Central Illinois Conference High School baseball action in Tuscola. Wilson earned the win with 5 1/3 innings of scoreless ball, scattering 6 hits and striking out 4. Preston Curtis was perfect in relief, closing out the final inning and 2/3 without allowing a base runner to secure the clean sheet. The Maroons broke the scoreless tie in the top of the 5th inning. Jack Manning sparked the offense with a line drive single to center. Stone Stith reached on an error, allowing Fentress to cross the plate for the game's first run. Clinton added a vital insurance run later in the same frame. With 2 runners on, Josh Bass delivered a single to the shortstop, driving in Manning and extending the lead to 2-0. Bass, Manning, and Stith each recorded a hit, with Bass providing the lone RBI of the contest. With the win, Clinton improves to 14-8 overall. They return home Saturday to host Eureka at 11 a.m. Asher Premer was dominant on the bump, and Cam Schluter went deep as St. Joseph-Ogden blanked Monticello 7-0 in a much-anticipated showdown of two of Central Illinois' best on Wednesday in Illini Prairie Conference high school baseball action from Monticello. The loss on Wednesday ended 21 straight wins for the Sages to start the spring season. Schluter went deep to open the second inning and put the Spartans up 2-0. Prummer struck out 8 while walking 1 and allowing 6 hits in a complete game shutout. Coy Williams and Hayden Romano went 1 for 3 for the Sages, who fall to 21-1 overall. They will visit Rantoul on Thursday. Clinton could only muster 2 hits in a 7-0 loss to Tuscola in Central Illinois Conference high school softball action on Wednesday in Tuscola. Campbell Bass and Riley Fentress had the only hits of the afternoon for the Lady Maroons. The Lady Warriors jumped out to a 3-0 lead after the first inning and extended the advantage to 6-0 after the fifth. Clinton drops to 7-14 overall and 2-3 in the CIC. They host Warrensburg-Latham on Friday. Hear the action on WHOW and all its digital platforms. St. Joseph-Ogden outlasted Monticello 3-1 in an Illini Prairie Conference high school softball showdown Wednesday in Monticello. The Lady Spartans jumped out to a 3-0 lead after 4 innings. Thea Key drove in the only Lady Sages run in the fifth. Allie Widener was 2 for 3 with a double to lead Monticello's offense. The Lady Sages dropped to 18-6 overall. They visit Rantoul on Thursday. A 6-run explosion in the bottom of the 6th inning proved to be the difference as Tri-Valley pulled away late to defeat Heyworth 6-2 on Wednesday afternoon in non-conference high school baseball action in Downs. In a game that began as a classic pitcher's duel, both offenses were kept quiet through the first 5 frames. Tri-Valley finally broke the scoreless tie in the home half of the 6th, sending 10 batters to the plate. Caden Fiskus ignited the rally with a single, and after Grayson Coughlin was hit by a pitch, Caden Daner delivered an RBI single to put the Vikings on the board 1-0. Chase Hallworth then provided the biggest blow of the frame, a 2-run double to left that scored Daner and the courtesy runner Colton Boward. Tri-Valley then added 2 more on a bases-loaded walk by Ethan Moore and a late error to build a commanding 6-0 lead. The Hornets' Boston Cats hit a sharp grounder that resulted in a 2-base error, allowing 2 runners to score and cut the deficit to 6-2. Coughlin went 6 shutout innings, allowing just 4 hits while striking out 8 for Tri-Valley. Hallworth led the Vikings offense, finishing 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs, while Isaiah Alexander and Daner each added an RBI apiece. Cats took the hard luck loss for Heyworth despite a stellar start, racking up 9 strikeouts over 5 2/3 innings of work. Denning was the offensive standout for the Hornets, finishing a perfect 3 for 3 with 2 doubles. Heyworth falls to 6-10-2 overall and 3-5 in the Heart of Illinois Conference. They host Delavan on Thursday. Tri-Valley goes to 17-6 overall and 8-1 in the Heart of Illinois Conference. They take on DMAC on Friday. Drew Stevens homered and drove in 4 runs as Normal Community rolled to a 10-0 run rule win over Normal West in crosstown Big 12 high school baseball action on Wednesday afternoon at Normal Community High School. Stevens singled in a run in a 4-run third inning. A batter later, Beckett Weber made it 4-0 with a double that scored Stevens. In the 4th, Stevens' 3-run home run capped a 6-run frame to make it 10-0 Ironmen. Gavin Michaels drove in 2 with a double for Normal Community. Weber struck out 8 in 5 hitless innings. He permitted 2 walks and hit a batter. Normal West is 13-8 overall and 6-3 in the Big 12. Normal Community goes to 17-2 overall and 8-1 in the Big 12. The two crosstown rivals meet again on Friday at Normal West High School. Rookie Sam Antonacci hit a tying triple with 2 outs in the 9th inning, and Colson Montgomery had a winning single in the 10th, lifting the Chicago White Sox over the Los Angeles Angels 3-2 Wednesday for a 3-game sweep that extended LA's losing streak to 6 games.
For the third time in 6 tries during the homestand, the White Sox delivered some bonus baseball on Wednesday afternoon, and they did so because Sam Antonacci came through with a huge game-tying hit in the 9th.
The pitch. A swing and a base hit. That'll tie the game. Right field corner.
After Sir Anthony Dominguez shut down the Halos in the 10th, the Sox only needed 1 to win it, and Colson Montgomery came through when it mattered most.
Montgomery lines into center, drops down. Vargas on his way home. Ball game over.
Winners of 8 of their last 12, the White Sox now head west for a 3-game series in San Diego Friday night against the Padres. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage starting at 8 p.m. on the ESPN 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
The White Sox are back on WHOW tonight when they play the first of a 3-game series with the San Diego Padres. Pregame starts at 8 p.m. Rookie Nathan Church ended the game by robbing Nick Gonzalez of what would have been a walk-off 2-run homer by making a leaping catch at the left field wall, giving the St. Louis Cardinals a 5-4 win over the Pittsburgh Pirates on Wednesday night. Ryan O'Hearn singled with 1 out in the 9th off Riley O'Brien, and Marcell Ozuna struck out on 3 straight pitches. Gonzalez drove a first-pitch slider to left, and Church jumped caught the ball above the top of the 6-foot wall, 373 feet from the plate. Gonzalez's drive would have been a home run in 27 of 30 big league parks, according to MLB StatCast, all but PNC Park, Camden Yards, and Globe Life Field. O'Brien escaped with his 8th save in 10 chances as the Cardinals won their 3rd straight in a 4-game series that ends Thursday. Pittsburgh has lost a season-high 4 straight. The Pirates went 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position and stranded 11. Andre Palante allowed 1 run and 5 hits in a season-high 6 innings. Bubba Chandler gave up 3 runs, 3 hits, and 4 walks through 5 innings. J.J. Weatherholt hit a go-ahead RBI double in the 3rd, and Alec Burleson boosted the lead to 3-0 with a 2-run homer in the 5th. Spencer Horwitz cut the deficit when he homered in the bottom half, but Ivan Herrera and Jordan Walker boosted the lead to 5-1 in the 7th with RBI singles against Chris Davinsky. Davinsky's contract was selected from AAA Indianapolis, and the 35-year-old right-hander debuted for the Pirates, his 7th major league team. He was charged with 1 run in 2/3 of an inning. Pinch hitter Nick York had a 2-run single in the bottom half against Jojo Romero, and O'Neill Cruz grounded into a run-scoring force out in the 8th off George Soriano. Right-hander Hunter Dobbins, acquired from Boston in the Wilson Contreras trade in December, is slated to make his Cardinals debut on Thursday when Pittsburgh starts reigning NL Cy Young Award winner Paul Skeens. Pete Crow Armstrong hit his 3rd home run of the season and drove in 3 runs to lead the Chicago Cubs to a 5-4 win over the San Diego Padres on Wednesday. The Cubs have won 12 of their last 15 games. Crow Armstrong's homer was a 2-run shot down the right field line in the 4th to give the Cubs a 3-0 lead. Cubs starter Jamison Taylor did not allow a base runner through the first 4 2/3 innings. The Padres broke through on a solo homer to left field by Miguel Andujar, a walk by Jay Cronenworth, and a 2-run blast to left by Nick Castellanos to tie the game at 3-3 in the 5th. Taylor gave up 3 runs, 3 hits, and struck out 6 in 7 innings. Chicago reliever Hobie Milner earned his first save. Padres starter Matt Waldron pitched 5 innings, giving up 3 runs and 6 hits. Reliever Adrian Morgan gave up a run in 2/3 of an inning. Matt Shaw had a solo homer to left in the 8th to give the Cubs a 5-3 lead. The Padres had a prime chance in the 8th after Corbin Martin walked 3 straight batters to lead off the inning. Ben Brown came in and gave up a sac fly to Fernando Tatis Jr. and then induced Manny Machado into an inning-ending ground ball double play to preserve the Cubs' 5-4 lead. Padres manager Craig Stammen missed the game to attend a funeral, handing over the acting manager role to bench coach Randy Knorr. Stammen is expected to be back for the Padres against the Arizona Diamondbacks on Friday. The Cubs have yet to name a starter for the opener of their 3-game series home set against the Diamondbacks. And right-handed pitcher for San Diego, German Marquez, is slated to start for the Padres in the opener of a 3-game series against the Chicago White Sox on Friday night. In scores from around the MLB yesterday, the Cleveland Guardians beat the Tampa Bay Rays 3-1, while the Seattle Mariners took down the Minnesota Twins 5-3. The Texas Rangers shut out the New York Yankees 3-0, while the Toronto Blue Jays beat the Boston Red Sox 8-1, and the Miami Marlins beat the LA Dodgers 3-2. The Colorado Rockies routed the Cincinnati Reds 13-2, while the Washington Nationals had a big win over the New York Mets 14-2. The Atlanta Braves beat the Detroit Tigers 4-3, while the Arizona Diamondbacks took down the Milwaukee Brewers 6-2, and the Athletics beat the Kansas City Royals 5-2. In NBA postseason scores from yesterday, top-seeded Detroit Pistons beat the 8th-seeded Orlando Magic 116-109, while the 4th-seeded Cleveland Cavaliers beat 5th-seeded Toronto Raptors 125-120, and the 5th-seeded Houston Rockets beat the 4th-seeded LA Lakers 99-93. In NHL postseason scores from yesterday, the Montreal Canadiens beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 3-2, while the Philadelphia Flyers shut out the Pittsburgh Penguins 1-0 in overtime, and the Las Vegas Golden Knights beat the Utah Mammoth 5-4 in double overtime. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Hey, it's Shane from Highway 51 Exchange, your mower and equipment service pros just south of Clinton. Click our banner ad on DeWittDailyNews.com or give us a call to schedule your free pickup and delivery today. Highway 51 Exchange.
Longview Community Bank is now open in Clinton, investing in rural Illinois. I'm Vice President Nate Sams. Stop by for a visit or to find out how we provide real local banking. Click our banner ad at the top of the local news page on DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. A veteran U.S. Senator, Iowa Republican Chuck Grassley, has met with the head of the Secret Service, discussing last weekend's security incident, the White House Correspondents' Dinner. President Trump hasn't ruled out a resumption of military strikes on Iran, as the Iranian leadership steadfastly refuses to let go of its nuclear ambitions. And Mr. Trump insists the blockade of Iranian ports will continue until Iran cries uncle, as the president puts it. Today, Secretary of War Hegseth is heading back to Capitol Hill, testifying before a Senate committee about the Iran war. Yesterday, he appeared before a House panel. The Florida legislature has approved a new Republican-friendly congressional map proposed by Governor Ron DeSantis. On Wall Street, the Dow futures up 368 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 187. This is SRN News.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Hi, my name's Neil. I have some advice for you if you've been trying to break free from credit card debt. You can start by doing what I did. Get your bills together and call Trinity Debt Management. Trinity is dedicated to helping people like me become debt-free.